Welcome to our webinar series for 2020. I'm Steve from Geeks on Tap. Today I want to talk about all the new announcements. You would have seen them in the media from Google about Workspace and what it means to you and even to us as a Google reseller and as a Google partner, and what we've been seeing happening with our clients recently and with remote working. So launching into the slide here, work is increasingly distributed with fewer in-person interactions. So in-person interactions means that when we go in the office, we've got opportunities to chat around the lunchroom or those sort of things. They're sort of gone, right? So you have to be very deliberate to actually stay connected. So it's much harder to stay connected and informed, because sometimes when you have those informal interactions, you learn quite a lot about what's going on in your business, and they're gone, right? So a lot of the time, a lot of people aren't coming back to work in those offices, or they're feeling a bit uncomfortable about interacting closely with people, and they get in and get out, right? So what do we do about it? Let's have a look. All right. Well, it turns out that we have, you can think that's hard, it's negative and that sort of thing, but actually it's an opportunity. We have an opportunity to reimagine work like no other time in history. That we have, everyone's now in this mode, like your staff, managers, even your accountant is actually open for change. So it's time to look at what is possible and what are the tools to help you with change. So it turns out the best place to work is not a place. The best place to work is probably where you are, where you're comfortable, or where you're finding your zone. So in terms of finding quiet time, that's easy. It's the interactions that are hard. So what you need for empowering those interactions is tools that are simple, flexible, and helpful, so you can just focus on people and not the technology. So from going from high friction technology to low friction technology. So what's new? How has Google addressed this? I think they've thought long and hard. And we saw an inkling of this coming up last year, but I think they've accelerated a lot of plans going forward. And everything's come together and it's been given a new brand. It's called Google Workspace. It's all in one place. So really, is it different to G Suite? Yes and no. G Suite, those of you who are using it, is like your Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Meet, Google Chat, all those things. They're essentially the same, but what Workplace does is brought it all together in one suite called Workplace. So what makes it different? So what they've tried to do is take Workplace and make it flexible, helpful, simple. So everything they're doing with these changes, is it flexible, is it helpful, is it simple technology? If the technology wasn't doing that, they didn't keep it. If technology was doing that, they invested, brought it together. So let's talk about simple for a minute. And I think simple is very important, because it comes down to that low friction situation where I can get what's going on quickly. That's what you need to have happening. Right, so things like immersive experiences with Google Meet. Now, Google Meet is the main tool for video conferencing, and Google Chat is the main tool for communicating. So those sort of things are absolutely key to people starting to feel connected again in remote situations. So Google is focused on bringing all of Google Meet and Google Chat into every single application, particularly in Gmail, so it can work from one window. So enhancements like live captions in meeting, translations, adaptive layout, low light mode, noise cancellation, and that means that people can start to feel connected again, because the technology isn't getting in the way and they're feeling as if they may be sort of in the same virtual room, and that's important. So it's simple, right? Human-centered design. Next is flexible. Can I set this thing up the way I like it, right, is the very key point of this. And that's where you're starting to get things now with more configurations in Gmail for how the inbox looks and where the chat is positioned and where things, and even down to how it launches. those things are being started to be configurable, so they're more along the lines of what you were thinking of, rather than something that you're getting forced into. So, and also flexibility means being able to quickly share something out with someone and say, what do you think, right? And get a fast response back. Or seeing your upcoming schedule, right, quickly without forgetting meetings. And pull up files anywhere at any time and see what people are working on. That's flexible. And finally, we've got helpful. Now, helpful means the buzzword underneath helpful is artificial intelligence. And Google got some amazing technology. You know, you can start writing an email, and Google, the Gmail system starts to think, that's going to be setting an appointment, or that is going to be a follow-up email on a previous email, and it actually completes the sentences for you. Hit the tab. Oh, I'm done. I didn't have to type all those words. It typed just 2 sentences for me. Or there's artificial intelligence inside of Google Sheets, where it automatically generates a pivot table or automatically generates a graph without you really thinking about it. And you go, yeah, that's the graph I was thinking of. Click done, you know, without actually going in and programming. Okay, I need to put that column there, this column there, this column there. And sort of 15 minutes later, you've started. Whereas in 5 seconds later, you've actually got the result. So, so all these AI-powered data tools help you optimize everything. Smart writing suggestions, high quality content faster. And the other thing is keeping you in the same window without switching into windows. So at the moment, and in a lot of other systems, you're going from G Suite to some other application, to some other, so your tabs start opening up on your Chrome browser, tab, 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 tab. So the Google realized that it's too many tabs, so they're trying to lower the number of tabs. I'm voting for that. I've got too many tabs open on my computer right now. So, people who use Workspace, Google went to get some independent research. I think it was Forrester. They had a look at it, and they said, okay, well, G Suite, what happens when people use G Suite? Why are companies adopting it? And when they looked at it, it's more innovative. People are happier because you've got something that's simple, helpful and flexible that actually kind of flows through into happier, and it flows through into innovation because you're actually spending more time on instead of grappling with high friction technology and wrangling it and wrestling it, you're actually getting stuff done. And also the future generations expect to use it, because 140 million kids out there in school and universities are actually using G Suite. In Australia and in America and in Europe, South America, wherever you go, you'll find G Suite in schools. The other part is the innovation generates profit. So if you're sharing things now, innovation and collaboration are linked. You can't have strong innovation without strong collaboration. Just ask Elon Musk about that. He's a master collaborator, right? So the innovation and collaboration are linked, and these Workspace is a fantastic collaboration tool. And companies, when they engage their employees, have higher retention. So if people feel isolated, they're not going to feel like sticking around. They're going to move on. So if you have engagement, then you're going to have higher retention. So all that investment, interviewing staff, getting the right person in the right place, and then dropping the ball after they start is just a waste of resource and energy for everyone. So retention is a super important thing. Give them the right tools, therefore, is a super important thing for your organization. So running along the retention line, 52% of people with good tools feel more valued and to be or included as a remote contributor when you've got good tools like Google Meet, and when you start to see collaboration happening and people commenting on documents, which you can do in Google Docs, and saying, hey, I love this piece, or maybe think of this, and people start to collaborate and engage. Super important to get people feeling valued. They can feel more empathetic if they can see someone's face, or they're seeing them nursing a baby, or having to clean up something after the puppy's made a mess, right? And 82% of managers really want the flexibility to work from home post-pandemic, because all managers are very busy people, and they're trying to balance their personal life and their work life. And great tools means that you can have higher satisfaction and retention with those high value staff like managers. How it's different. So what does a good tool and if you like a today type of tool, 2020 type of tool look like compared to something that was thought of in the 1990s? Well, let's have a look at that. Flexible, it just works. Rigid, tools that only work one particular way, right? And you have to ring IT every like 2 days or something just to figure it out. That's the difference there. Helpful, it's powered by AI, it's smart, it thinks for you, versus patchwork. So things that you have to wrangle with versus something that comes along and helps you out and everything happens in the background without you thinking about it. And simple, a lot of cloud-based products are simple because the experience is the same across from your mobile device to your computer to a tablet. Whereas if you have to have, okay, I can only do work on this PC, then you're sort of locked to that, and it makes life complicated if your PC is not there or your PC is in repair. So simple means also working across any platform, anywhere, anytime. Retrofitted, it means hybrid cloud desktop environment, which you get with 80% of systems out there that are not Google. You get this sort of retrofitted, okay, well, I've got something online here, but it doesn't give me all the features. I've got to go to my computer to get all the features for this document, all the features for this spreadsheet. Some of them work online, but then I've got to always go back to the computer because it's a hybrid. Whereas in Google Workspace, the features, all the features are sitting in the cloud natively, no matter what device you're working from. So how we used to work and what that changes when you get those sort of technologies and features means that you can work anywhere, you're virtual, right? Because the experience is the same. It's customized to fit you, it's integrated, it's real time, it's for teams of any size, it's smart and predictive, it's ready for complex problem solving, small teams make a bigger impact, and there's open and free-flowing communication, lots and lots and lots of engagement, right? How we used to work, and I remember, I've done this for decades prior to having something like Google Workspace, is you go only at the office, one size fits all, you're siloed, you're offline, you can only get things done if you've got a big team involved. It's pretty dumb, it's pretty manual, right? It's great for routine, but try and change that, it gets difficult. Big teams make a big impact, but a small team struggles, right? And top-down communication in terms of, okay, well, here's the template, everyone go and do their thing. Whereas in the workspaces, it's very horizontal communication. Hey, I've started this template, can you guys start working on it now? Whereas in the old days, how we used to work, you had to almost finish the whole template for anyone to start working. Timing and pricing. Okay, this is where it gets very interesting because it's actually a very economic system relatively. So timing, as of 2021, G Suite will be no more, and it will all be Workspace. So they're converging and changing things for all of Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Meet are all going to converge together into one workspace. But that Google's not going to do that tomorrow. They're going to leave a hole at the end of this year to actually make the transition more comfortable. And then, so it's Workspaces only in 2021. And there is additional grace if, to take care of people who are a bit slower transitioning to the new system. And that's by Q2 2021. If you look at the pricing, Workspace, where we used to have G Suite Basic, is now called Workplace Business Starter, and it's the same price as Basic, $8.40 per user per month. So, and also Business is the same, or Business Standard is the same price, $16.80 per user per month. But there's a new, more enhanced business version called Business Plus, $25 per month, which takes some of the G Suite Enterprise features and brings it into the business area. Generally speaking, Google is saying under about 300 staff, that's where the G Suite, the Workspace business product is aimed, and over about 300 staff, you've got the Workplace Enterprise product, and that starts at $28. It used to be $34, and it goes up. They've got a plus version now, which is $42. You compare that with Microsoft, it's pretty well line ball with a little bit cheaper. Microsoft 365 Standard Business is $17.20, Google is $16.80. Their premium version is $27.50 and Google is $25.20. So pretty close, a little bit cheaper. There's a massive difference in enterprise though. The enterprise starts in at $28. The Microsoft 365 Enterprise E3 is $46, and their top level full enterprise product is $78.30 per user per month, whereas Google is $42. And that has all the bells and whistles. And if you want to talk about comparisons, we've got a detailed comparison about all of those products and what they include, what they don't include. Okay, so let's talk about confidence in Google Workspace and G Suite. So all the confidence that's been built up in G Suite, in fact, Workplaces has been developed with feedback from some very large customers on how they want to work, particularly through the pandemic. So you've got names like AirAsia, Spotify, Verizon, Netflix, PwC, Nielsen, Airbus, and in Australia, of course, Woolworths. So I don't know if Woolworths is on there. No. Whirlpool, and so very, very large companies use G Suite and now are using Workspace. So you can have 100% confidence that it's secure, that it's ready for enterprise, even if you're a small company, all the way through to very large companies like Airbus. All right, now, if you want to figure out what the financials are, there is a tool online called the Workspace Calculator. And you put in some metrics around how many staff serves, what your turnover is, what your profit, and it pulls out about a 20-page report from Forrester Research on what your return on investment is going to be with Workspace. In this particular example, the return on investment over 3 years is $1 million, right? Improvement over other systems. So the employee efficiency and profit growth are the big parts of that improvement. And again, we can help you with modeling that for total cost of ownership and return on investment. So Workspace is live now. We're going to open the floor to questions, and we're going to have a great, much better 2021, I feel.